Question: if you had to win one game today, which hitter archetype do you draft first? And which one do you bench forever? We're ranking 16 types that built dynasties, melted calculators, and drove hitting coaches insane. By the end, you'll see why some hitters live for homers and walks, why others swing at museum pitches and still get hits, and where the sport keeps moving the goalposts. The answer might depend on whether you trust vibes, velocity, or a guy who treats walks like a part-time job. Demigods. What do you call hitters who make MLB look like rookie mode? Demigods. They don't just post big numbers, they make the numbers feel small. Models try to predict outcomes. These guys warp the inputs. Scouting reports say avoid this zone. They own every zone. And the running gag of the day, launch angle consultants take notes from them, not the other way around. Start with Shohei Ohtani, the outlier of outliers. He puts up top-tier exit velocity with barrel rates that sit among the best, while also making elite swing decisions. He punishes mistakes to the upper deck, yet lays off pitches that most sluggers chase. Then he walks to the mound and erases lineups. The two-way piece isn't a bonus. It changes how teams pitch him, because you can't just pound him inside and expect chase. He sees spin early, controls counts, and when the data says red flags, he turns them green. Mike Trout's peak feels like a template for modern dominance. From his early run through his prime, he stacked season after season with MVP-level production. The combination is what breaks categories. Power that plays to all fields, enough contact to keep strikeouts from swallowing value, plus speed that turns singles into extra bases. He reads the zone like a veteran and jumps on pitches middle up. Pitchers try to nibble and he still finds barrels. That's how a 10 WAR season becomes a casual sentence. Barry Bonds wrote the rulebook on fear. From 2001 to 2004, his on-base percentage reached absurd levels, and pitchers responded with intentional walk records that don't look real. In 2004, he ran a .609 OBP and a 1.422 OPS. His peak OPS plus hit .268, and the league responded by just not pitching. He still won. If you're wondering what happens when pitchers stop pitching, he walks to a 1.400 OPS era and smirks. And yes, the consultants are still taking notes. Willie Mays is the prototype. 5 tools, every season: power, speed, contact, range, and arm. He didn't need a specialized role because he did everything well enough to carry a roster. The 30 years, the sustained dominance, and the center field defense made the whole game bend toward him. League average OPS sits in the middle seat. These guys ride first class with sky-high OPS plus and walk-to-strikeout command that flips risk into leverage. Demigods don't break the game. They become the baseline everyone else tries to copy and can't. If gods are rare, what does optimization do for the rest of us mortals? True outcomes. What if baseball only had 3 endings? Home run, walk, strikeout? That's the true outcomes life, where contact is optional and value happens without a fielder moving an inch. Joey Gallo and Adam Dunn are the poster boys. They show how a plate appearance can be great even when the ball never lands fair. The ball either leaves, you stroll, or you tip your cap and walk back. Old school hates the Ks because strikeouts feel empty. Spreadsheets don't care how it feels. They care about expected runs per plate appearance, and those jump when you replace grounders with deep flies and free passes. That's how a .240/.350/.520 line turns into secret premium offense. You give up batting average, but you buy on base and slugging, which push more runners across. Since Moneyball, the 3 true outcomes gained steam. Run expectancy models keep stacking the same answer. A homer spikes the inning, a walk keeps it alive, and soft contact hands it back to the defense. Shift-heavy defenses doubled down on that lesson. When infielders stood where singles go to die, hitters leaned harder into lift and pull. The launch angle guru started handing out diplomas at 26 degrees like it's graduation day. Take done. He lived in 40 homer seasons with 200-plus strikeouts, ran a career .373 OBP and .516 slugging, and never worried about a tidy batting average. That profile worked because he walked a lot, and every miss in the zone left fast. Gallo followed the blueprint with stretches over a 50% hard hit rate, a walk rate around the mid-teens, and strikeouts that would scare a calculator. Even with a low average, a .340 OBP and .467 slugging have real value when half your contact is loud. Park-adjusted numbers smooth the noise. Pull power plays in most parks, and the shift era convinced teams that air balls beat ground balls over time. The cost is volatility. In October, this style can look like a slot machine. A couple of missed sweeper locations and you're a hero. A strike thrower who won't nibble turns it into a quiet week. Small samples make feast or famine stand out more, so front offices balance these bats with lineup insulation and bullpen-proof patience. The mini payoff is simple. True outcomes. Hitters don't just survive analytics, analytics manufactured them. If math loves order, what happens when chaos shows up with a bat? Wild Stallions. Can a hitter win and lose a game in the same inning? Javy Baez and Yasiel Puig tried. This is the high-variance life. They swing at almost anything, then outrun the mess. Freak athleticism turns bad ideas into base hits and great ideas into memes. You get a highlight reel with a blooper stitched to the end. Coaches chase consistency, they chase adrenaline. And somewhere behind the cage, a launch angle consultant sprints after them with a clipboard and gets juked at third. The setup is simple. Zone control is a class. They skip class and ace recess. Baez lives near the edge of the strike zone and a few feet outside it. He hunts spin, attacks first movement, and bets on hands that can scoop anything. On the bases, he tags like a street magician. No-look swipes that turn steals into theater. Puig brings a cannon that dares runners to try 90 feet and a bat that wakes up and sleeps in loud cycles. The bat flips land halfway between art and warning label. Hot streaks last 2 weeks and feel like a takeover. Cold spells test a manager's patience and the broadcast dump button. This archetype makes TV numbers happy and algorithms grumpy. Models want stable inputs. Wild Stallions feed on small sample chaos. A missed cutoff, a rushed throw, or one slider backed up, and win probability swings 10 points in a blink. The value hides in the tails. When they hit the top end, the game tilts. When they bottom out, you get a teaching clip in tomorrow's meeting. Coaches preach, shrink the zone. They nod, then swing anyway. The tension lives there. Teams still sign up because peak outcomes can swing a playoff series. One bolt to the gap, one first to third, one outfield assist at home, and you bank a win that spreadsheets didn't see. The trick is channeling it without sanding it down. Selective aggression works like a governor on a go-kart. Hunt one zone early. Call off the chase with 2 strikes. Keep the tag chaos. Lose the dead red whiff. Is chaos coachable? Not really, but it can be aimed. Give them a plan with simple keys, then let the speed, arm, and hands play. The mini payoff is clean. When chaos connects, the stadium shakes. When it doesn't, the video room gets busy. After chaos, meet pure violence against baseballs. Pure sluggers. What happens when a baseball meets 120 miles per hour exit velocity? It files a complaint. Pure sluggers live there. The swing is short on subtlety and long on damage. The ball leaves fast, loud, and often. Strikeouts come with the contract. Teams sign anyway because the upside pays the bills when a season turns. Giancarlo Stanton is the poster child for elite exit speed. He sits on the top end of leaderboards and stays there. The 2017 MVP season, with 59 homers and an OPS over 1,000, shows how a healthy run of swings can tilt a league. He hunts mistakes, lifts them, and doesn't apologize. Pitchers try to live off the edge. If they leak, he pulls or rides it out and the park feels small. The cost is swing holes inside zones where velocity climbs, and the body tax of that kind of violence. Durability becomes a story the second the calendar turns. Pete Alonso brings a similar tool with a steadier shape. Home run titles, pull side lift, and a swing that turns middle-in pitches into quick flights. He thrives on catching the ball out front and keeping the barrel in the zone long enough to punish heaters. You'll see strikeouts. You'll also see 35 to 50 homers when the timing holds. That trade is clear. Managers pencil him into the middle, aim for traffic on base, and let the math handle the rest. The analytics case is simple. Expected slugging and barrel rates forecast runs better than bat to ball for this type. If you can live in the barrel zone, teams will accept whiffs. One big swing can cover for 2 empty trips. The H.R. Darby joke fits here. Their off-season conditioning is launching balls into orbit and then calling the chiropractor. It sounds flippant, but the skill is repeatable in a way that grounders are not. Lineup construction matters because defense and base running sit lower on the list. You cover with a good glove next to them and a pinch runner late. Is the ceiling worth the floor? In homer-scarce parks and tight playoff games, yes. A single mistake can flip a series, and these bats specialize in mistakes. The mini payoff is easy to see. If the ball is air traffic, these guys are the FAA. But what if you don't wait around for a pitch count? First pitch killers are next. Free swingers. Can a ball 2 inches off the plate be a line drive? Ask Vladimir Guerrero Sr. He swung at pitches that looked like they needed a passport, and he still squared them up. The story with free swingers starts there. Plate discipline was a rumor. Strikes were optional. If the ball was in reach, it was in play, and sometimes even when it wasn't. Vlad Sr. turned chaos into offense. He could flip a pitch that bounced in front of the plate into a single and yank something near his eyes for extra bases. The bat-to-ball skill let him make contact where most hitters just blink. Power finished the job. You didn't game plan for locations. You game planned for range because any quadrant might end up on a highlight. Meanwhile, the Swing Decision app crashed the second his profile loaded and never recovered. Yoenis Cespedes carried the same vibe with a focus on the first pitch. He loved early count heaters and anything that even hinted at a strike. The swing was built for speed and damage. Pitchers tried to steal strike one with a get-me-over fastball, and he turned it into a laser show. That early ambush changed the pace of games. Outfielders played deeper, infielders rushed, and the pitcher's plan got shorter. This approach pokes at the analytics creed that swing decisions drive success. The counter is count leverage. First pitch swings come with better contact odds and fewer two-strike holes. League-wide data lines up with that idea. Higher first pitch swing rates can pair with strong wobier because early strikes are the ones you can hit hard. When you avoid deep counts, you also avoid the strikeout minefield. One swing, one result, no debate. Pitchers adjust when they see this. They throw fewer cookie cutters to start, or they nibble and fall behind. Either way, they lose comfort. That feeds into the next at-bat, where a fastball finds too much plate because no one wants ball 2. The pressure builds without a single walk. The running gag keeps going. The Swing Decision app now rests in peace. Is it sustainable? Only for unicorns with elite coordination and real strength. Without both, you get empty chases and a long summer. With both, you get consistent, loud contact on pitches that most hitters can't reach. The mini payoff is simple. Sometimes the best plate discipline is never letting the count exist. On the other extreme, some hitters never swing and still terrify pitchers. Walk machines. How do you hit .000 and still ruin a pitcher's night? Walk 45% of the time. That's the walk machine's dream, and Juan Soto and Barry Bonds turned it into a routine. Their strike zone wasn't the rulebook box. It was a personal brand. Pitchers learned it fast. Soto is a clinic in control. His career walk rate sits in the high teens, and his chase rate stays low because he refuses bait. 2 strikes don't panic him. He spoils borderline pitches, flips counts back to even, and then takes the free base when the ball misses by an inch. The swing stays short, and the opposite field power hangs over everything. Pitchers know a single mistake can turn into a gap shot, so they shade away, and the walk shows up as the safer outcome. Bonds lived the other extreme of fear. He holds the all-time intentional walk record, and his career walk rate pushes past most hitters' dreams. Zones shrank to postage stamp size whenever he stepped in. You could see catchers set up off the plate and never move the glove. If the pitch came near the barrel, it left the field. So teams avoided the barrel with a steady stream of passes, even with runners on. The running gag with this archetype is the at-bat that feels like 35 pitches. Foul, take, reset, repeat. The catcher peeks to the dugout like, "We done?" Meanwhile, the starter's pitch count climbs and the bullpen phone warms up. That grind is the point. It taxes arms, steals rhythm, and flips leverage to the offense. Analytics backs the patience. On-base percentage ties directly to run creation, and different base-out states can make a walk worth more than a single. With a runner on second and 2 outs, a walk keeps the inning alive and sets a bigger swing for the next hitter. Over 9 innings, that turns into real runs without a single highlight. Are walks passive? Not here. The threat of damage forces mistakes later. After 3 careful plate appearances, a pitcher gets tired, leaks 1 middle away, and pays. These hitters score without swinging and then cash in the moment you forget why you avoided them. From patience to panic, now speed makes defenses play fast and loose. Pure speedsters. What's worth 5 WAR without 30 homers? Warfare on the bases. Pure speedsters turn ground balls into problems and singles into long meetings on the mound. They don't wait for a 3-run shot. They manufacture a run with 2 steps and a bad throw, then do it again before the catcher finds the ball. Rickey Henderson is the template. He reached base at a high clip and then took the next one like it belonged to him. The famous 130 steal season showed how volume plus success breaks pitching plans. Leadoff was a scoring position with him because the first walk meant second base was coming soon. Pitchers slid into the stretch, infields twitched early, and one shuffle created a mistake. That constant pressure changed how teams opened games. Elly De La Cruz brings the modern version. His sprint speed turns a routine single into a gap panic. Outfielders rush, middle infielders cheat, and pitchers cut off their deliveries. He scores on balls that most players watch, and the defense knows any hesitation invites a takeoff. When he's on first, the mound clock runs faster in a pitcher's head. You see hurried slide steps, elevated fastballs, and rushed cutters that drift to the middle. For years, front offices cooled on steals because the break-even math said risk outweighed reward. Getting caught steals outs, and outs are the rarest thing. New rules in 2023 changed the cost. Bigger bases shave distance. Pickoff limits remove scare tactics. The shift ban adds more singles, which means more runway for speed. Call it a Kickstarter for chaos merchants. Attempts went up, and success rates climbed with them, moving the break-even line to a friendlier place for aggression. The defensive fallout shows up everywhere. Catchers hurry transfers and spike throws. Middle infielders shade bags early and miss hops. Pitchers balk, trying to hold a runner who already stole the lead. One steal threatens another, and the batter gets friendlier counts because the mound focuses on feet instead of barrels. You won't see exit velo in the box score for that, but you'll see runs. Does speed age well? Raw jets slow down. The thing is, smart base running ages better than legs. Reads, jumps, and scouting notes keep value when sprint speed drops a tier. The mini payoff is simple. Speed taxes every defender and breaks pitcher rhythm, creating runs that don't show up on exit velocity. From legs to hands, some hitters just never miss the ball. Contact hitters. What if your superpower is never whiffing? Tony Gwynn and Luis Arraez built temples to contact, and the sign on the door says, "No swing and miss allowed." Contact hitters live on ultra-low strikeout rates. They control the barrel, guide the ball, and send line drives to every lane. The approach looks simple. See it, square it, and use the whole field. The thing is, it breaks rhythm for pitchers who plan on chase and strikeout. In an exit velocity era, soft liners get side-eye. Yet batting average still moves innings. Gwynn's career became a lesson in restraint and aim. He struck out so rarely that modern single-season leaders can surpass his entire decade in 2 summers. Arraez proves the template still works. He grabbed back-to-back batting titles by owning the strike zone and meeting the ball early. He doesn't muscle it, he angles it. When defenses load one side, the ball goes the other way. It looks routine until you try to teach it. 2 strikes don't end the at-bat for this group. They shorten up, track spin, and live on foul ball survival. Here comes the running gag. Foul off 47 pitches until the pitcher rethinks life choices. The catcher's knees bark, and the broadcast clock slows. That extra pitch turns into a mistake, and a flare drops in. BABIP skills show up right there. They find grass often because placement wins the foot race. It is not luck when it repeats across seasons. The analytics lens asks about contact quality versus quantity. Contact hitters bet on quantity with enough quality to clear infielders. With shift bands limiting wild alignments, all fields hitters gain more singles and clean lanes. Spray charts matter again. You see more straight-up infields, and those grounders to the 6-hole sneak through instead of dying in a rover's glove. That extra base runner keeps an inning alive and pushes pitch counts up. There is a ceiling. Without big power, the line can top out at doubles and a lot of singles. But the floor sits high in lineups that strike out too much. They reset innings, move runners, and cut 2-strike strikeouts into playable contact. That steadies a lineup across a long season. The mini payoff is clear. Sometimes the best slug is a parade of well-placed singles that stack runs without fireworks. But the middle-of-the-order monsters bring both thunder and enough contact to matter. Power hitters. Can you hit .280 with 50 homers and still get pitched to? Only by accident. Power hitters build their case with damage and just enough contact to make pitchers pay for any slip. Aaron Judge and Mark McGwire sit at the center of that blueprint. They don't swing more than they have to. They swing at what they can hammer. That approach keeps their averages healthy while the slugging carries the rest. The booth starts whispering about free passes before pitch 1, and they might not be wrong. Judge's 62-homer season came with a high on-base rate and steady defense, which rounds out the profile. He tracks spin well, waits for a pitch he can drive, and then lifts it to the far seats. The key is that he refuses the chase. When the count tilts his way, pitchers have to land something in the zone, and his barrel finds it. Add the defense and you get a modern MVP frame. Power, OBP, and value in the field that keeps him on the card every day. McGwire offers the earlier era mirror with a home run rate that spiked games and a walk rate that forced respect. He hunted the ball up and out over the plate and let everything else sail by. That selectivity drew walks at a high clip and set up the fastball he wanted. In that context, his power carried entire weeks of offense. Lineup protection mattered too. When bats behind him threatened damage, the free passes faded and the mistakes rose. Zone management drives the whole plan. Lay off the slider that starts off the dish and finishes farther away. Spit on the elevated four-seamer until the count says yes. That patience squeezes pitchers into spots they don't like. Then the bad fastball shows up, and the ball leaves. Cue the running gag. The broadcast team suggests pitch around him for 3 straight at-bats. Then, the pitcher accidentally throws a strike, and a fan brings home a souvenir. Analytics grades this type with OPS+, ISO, and swing decisions. High isolated power proves the damage. Strong OPS+ shows the production after context. Good chase discipline keeps the plan intact. In October, the strike zone gets tougher and mistakes shrink, which raises their value. One miss means 1 run or more, and that can settle a series. Mini payoff: middle-order monsters bend bullpens to their schedule. If they eat runs, who sets the table? Leadoff specialists. How do you make the first inning last forever? Send up Mookie Betts or Jose Altuve. Leadoff specialists stretch time by mixing patience with thump. The job starts with getting on base, but it works because the first swing can also leave the yard. High OBP, smart reads, and enough pop to make the first pitch of the game feel like a mistake. Traditionalists want pure speed and slap hits. Modern leadoff needs on-base and slug because early traffic turns into early runs. Betts shows how this works. He posts a strong on-base clip, then stacks base running value with sharp reads, quick jumps, and clean decisions. He goes first to third, steals when the math favors him, and punishes outfielders who sleep. The sneaky part is the power. He can start a game with a drive to the seats, which changes the strike zone for the next 8 hitters. Altuve fits the model with a different shape. Contact first, then sudden pull-side lift. He keeps the bat in the zone a long time, stays short to the ball, and still reaches 30-plus homers in peak years. That combination forces pitchers to choose: nibble and risk a walk or challenge and risk noise. First plate appearance leverage matters more than it sounds. The opener has to show the arsenal, find release, and win the timing battle with no safety net. A patient leadoff hitter stretches the at-bat, flashes the heater, the breaker, and the change, and the dugout gets free scouting. An aggressive one jumps the first get-me-over and blows up the plan before it starts. Either way, the lineup benefits. Seeing more pitches lifts awareness and warps game flow. Cue the running gag. The opposing starter hits 25 pitches before the 2-hole even blinks. Analytics gives this spot extra weight. WRC Plus captures how much a leadoff bat drives runs above league context, and strong base running value adds hidden wins. When that skill set stands in front of power, you multiply damage. Walks turn into doubles on steals. Singles set up 3-run innings. It's safe to say the modern version often beats the old prototype because it creates both pressure and instant scoring. Mini payoff. Table setters aren't extras. They produce the scene. They script counts, tax arms, and put the big swings on schedule. Not everyone hits rockets. Some turn the infield into a pinball machine. Slap hitters. 3 homers a year, and somehow they still break your heart. Slap hitters don't chase launch angle trophies. They look for grass and panic. The bat path is flat, the contact is quick, and the ball is in play before the shortstop finishes blinking. A hard 90 to first turns a routine grounder into a meeting on the mound. Meanwhile, a launch angle consultant leans over the rail and whispers, "Just 10 more degrees," and gets waved off like a foul ball. Ichiro is the blueprint for this. He mastered infield hits with a head start, out of the box, and a swing that met the ball wherever it lived. Speed to first shaved close, plays into singles. His spray chart looked like a lawn sprinkler. Left, right, straight up the middle. He used every inch. Pitchers tried to tie him up. He found a hole. The goal wasn't lift. It was angles that beat a glove by half a step. DJ LeMahieu shows the modern shape. He leans opposite field with a high ground ball rate and feels fine about it. Right field becomes a landing pad. He taps fastballs away and guides breakers the other way. You can track it in his splits, with different parks shaping his contact. Coors rewarded line drives that ran forever. Yankee Stadium's porch turned those same opposite field pokes into steady production. The method didn't change. The field did. Low launch angle looks outdated in a league obsessed with carry. The thing is, results stack when the bat meets the ball this often. The 2023 shift ban helped too. With defenders stuck closer to traditional spots, ground ball artists found lanes that used to be guarded by a rover in shallow right. Singles grew where line drives once died. That tweak put slap hitters back in business. Now the debate starts. Is high BABIP skill or luck? For this group, the contact quality is placement, not power. Expected stats often miss that. A 75-mile-per-hour bleeder counts the same as a rocket if the fielder can't reach it, and repeatable spray plus speed keeps those hits coming. Pitchers see it in real time and get irritated. Another 2-hopper sneaks through, another at-bat stretches, and frustration shows up in the zone. Power is light, but relentless contact wears you down. Every defense has a crack. Slap hitters find it in under 4 seconds. Matchups matter. Some hitters are superstars half the week. Platoon hitters. How do you hit .320? Only on Tuesdays and versus righties. That's the platoon life. The roster says part-time. The box score says specialist. The game plan is simple. Find the handedness you crush, then show up like payroll depends on it. When the lineup card comes out, half the clubhouse checks which arm the starter throws with. One guy smiles. The clipboard nerd reminds the manager it's a hard no versus lefties. Mark Reynolds shows the power side of this. Against right-handed pitchers, his swing path matched the incoming angle, so sliders that backed up and heaters that caught too much plate turned into loud pull-side shots. The numbers tilted hard that way. Managers shielded him from tough lefties, and the strikeouts didn't matter when the matchups lined up. The role looked narrow, but the damage arrived in big chunks because the contact he did make carried. Matt Stairs built a career on one job: come off the bench late, see a righty, and hunt one pitch he could lift. The pinch hit home runs gave him a near myth status because leverage touched every swing. He didn't need 4 at-bats to find timing. He needed one mistake, a release that started middle, and a ball flight angle he knew by muscle memory. That's the template for a matchup specialist who doesn't play every day and still swings games. Why does this work? Breaking balls and release points create blind spots. A righty slider that moves away from a right-handed bat chases the barrel off the ball, while the same pitch moving into a left-handed barrel stays on plane longer. Lefties flipping curveballs to righties start in the line of sight and drop under the swing. Those angles produce natural edges, and platoon hitters learn to live where the pitch moves toward them. Managers treat this like a portfolio. You deploy assets where they pay. Start the specialist when the matchup fits. Save him to pinch hit when the leverage spikes. The clipboard nerd keeps tapping the splits. Hard no versus lefties. Analytics agrees because roster spots get tight. Pinch hit leverage can turn a part-time bat into a high-impact piece, especially when the bullpen carousel forces a specific arm. When October arrives, benches shrink and matchups sharpen. 6th inning, tying run on, righty on the mound, the helmet pops on. Mini payoff, used right, a part-time bat swings full-time win probability. Some players don't just fit a role, they fit all of them. Utility guys. 7 gloves, 1 lineup card, and 3 to 4 WAR out of thin air. That's the utility guy's calling card. They don't win promo nights. They win tiebreakers in July and fix depth charts in August. Ben Zobrist and Kike Hernandez built careers by standing where the manager points and turning a headache into a plan. The bat looks modest on the surface. The value shows up when the roster stretches and you don't need a call-up to survive a series. Zobrist's peak seasons show how this scales. He reached base at a strong clip and posted seasons where total value climbed because he could play second, corner outfield, and even short in a pinch. That flexibility boosted his overall impact beyond the box score. He turned lineup cards into puzzle boards that actually fit. When your second baseman needs a day, he moves. When your right fielder tweaks a hamstring, he moves again. The offensive floor stays near league average, and the positional value stacks on top. Kike brings the premium defense twist. Shortstop, center field, and second are all demanding. He can handle them and still give you pop that punishes mistakes. That lets a manager chase matchups without burning the bench. Late in a game, you shift him from center to short and swap out a corner bat, and you still have 1 sub left. It looks simple. It saves games. Star power often beats loud. Hidden value wins weeks. A utility guy patches injuries and bridges platoons by being the guy next to the specialist who doesn't need a platoon. You get a league average bat and above average defense in multiple places. That makes the bullpen plan cleaner because you don't need double switches to survive the 9th. Running gag. The launch angle consultant moonlights as a glove sales rep and keeps dropping off another mitt. The analytics piece explains why front offices love this. Positional adjustment in WAR recognizes that short and center are harder than first or left. Covering those spots even part-time adds real runs. Under 26-man rules, every roster spot has to carry 2 jobs. A player who covers 3 positions at a plus level and hits enough gives you space for a specialist elsewhere. In October, this gets louder. Matchups change every inning. One guy who slides across the diamond lets you chase the best arm without losing a bat or a glove. Mini payoff. Utility isn't backup. It's the duct tape that wins rings. Now to hitters who treat batting average like a trophy case. Pure hitters. What does .350 with 5 homers buy you? Respect and rallies. Pure hitters trade fireworks for certainty. The job is simple to say and hard to live. Meet the ball, steer it to grass, and jog to first like it was routed there. They turn at bats into pressure by refusing to miss. When the barrel lives in the zone all game, pitchers lose the parts of their plan that depend on chases and freebies. Ichiro and Rod Carew are the blueprint. They built attacks around bat control, timing, and line drives to every blade of grass. Carew stacked 7 batting titles with a career average that sat way up the chart, and he turned bunting into a daily weapon. Corners crept in, infielders cheated a step, and he still found the gap. Ichiro's 262 hit season put his style on blast. He spread the ball across the field, used elite first-step speed, and kept defenders guessing on every pitch. Low ISO didn't slow the production because bases kept filling. The tension lives in the trade-off. You don't see tape measure blasts, so people ask if the payoff still holds. It does when the on-base rate stays strong. Singles stack into innings, and pitchers stretch into the red. WRC plus backs it when the average and OBP rise together, because run creation counts plate appearances that end with a safe turn at first, not just barrels above 100 miles per hour. Put a pure hitter in front of damaged bats, and the scoreboard moves a step at a time. Mechanically, the bat path stays flat and quick. They read fielders mid-swing. If the shortstop leans, the hands change the plan and the ball takes the open lane. 2 strikes bring a shorter move, a later commit, and a mindset that says foul until the mistake shows. That keeps the strikeout rate low and makes pitchers show more of the arsenal than they want. The running gag holds here. The launch angle consultant gets banned from the cage for suggesting uppercuts. This style sets tone. It kills slumps because contact survives cold spells better than all-or-nothing hacks. The ceiling may be capped without big loft, but they shape innings with first-pitch singles, hit-and-run reads, and the bunt that turns chaos into a throwing error. Mini payoff. Pure hitters are rally starters you can schedule. Some hitters don't need a position to matter. They just hit. Designated hitters. What if your glove is your bat bag? That's the designated hitter pitch in one line. You don't carry leather, you carry runs. David Ortiz and Nelson Cruz made long careers out of that job by focusing on the one skill every lineup buys: damage. Ortiz built a postseason resume that still makes pitchers twitch. He hit for average and power in October, stacked 17 playoff homers, and posted an OPS that lived near a full-season star. He added a World Series MVP on top and kept showing up in game states where one swing moved the win chart. Those clutch spikes turned close games into wins and gave managers a clean, simple choice in late innings. Do not let him beat you. The problem was, avoiding him often opened the door for runs anyway. Nelson Cruz shows how the role ages well. In his mid to late 30s, he kept producing real power in different parks and leagues. His run creation rates stayed near the top tier for hitters his age, which is rare. The DH slot gave him space to keep the swing sharp without the daily grind of defense. That's the quiet edge of the job. You build a routine around timing, recovery, video, and plate discipline. Less wear means more barrels and fewer chase swings. There is always the stigma. People ask what a bat-only player is worth. WAR taxes DHs with a positional penalty because they don't help with the glove. So a DH has to out-hit that tax by a lot. The better teams plan for that. They anchor the lineup with a bat that clears that bar, then place contact and speed around it. Now toss in the running gag. The shift ban works like a retirement plan subsidy, giving some pull-heavy DHs a few extra knocks and a longer runway. From an analytics view, the math is clean. If a DH posts elite WRC plus or OPS while staying healthy, the raw surplus can dwarf the position penalty. Roster design matters here. A fixed DH opens lanes for stronger defenders in the field while keeping a power bat central. It also steadies the order. Pitchers can't relax in the 5 or 6 spot when a hammer sits there daily. In October, benches shrink and every plate appearance grows teeth. A locked-in DH becomes the plan, not a luxury. Mini payoff. If runs are currency, DHs are the mint. Not every hero hits. Some save runs like hoarders. Defensive specialists. How does a .240 hitter become a franchise icon? Catch everything. Defensive specialists build value where the camera pans after contact. Andrelton Simmons and Yadier Molina stayed in lineups because run prevention changes games in quiet ways that hitters can't always match. Fans argue about averages. Pitchers sleep at night because they know someone will turn chaos into an out. Simmons made shortstop look smaller. His peak defensive runs saved seasons hit rare air, with totals that stack up like star-level offense in reverse. He posted elite numbers, including massive single-season DRS marks, because he reached balls most players never touch, and then finished plays with a plus arm. Range factor told the same story: more chances, more outs. The secret was internal positioning. He shaded steps based on hitter tendencies, pitch type, and count, so the first move didn't waste time. That precision meant a routine throw from a weird angle and a double play that should not have existed. Exit velocity obsession pauses when a 110 miles per hour rocket becomes an out by sorcery. Molina owned the strike zone without swinging. In the framing era, he turned borderline pitches into strikes and banked runs saved before contact. He also ran the running game with a caught-stealing clip that stayed above the norm, which shut down easy extra bases. Pitchers leaned on him to call sequences, slow opponents, and guide traffic when innings got messy. That management piece has value that box scores miss. A calm sign, a mound visit at the right time, and the inning ends on a grounder, not a 3-run swing. Analytics backs the profile. Defensive WAR adds value from range, double plays, outfield assists, catcher framing, and deterrence. Run prevention equals run creation when the math settles. Saving a run on Tuesday pays the same as driving one in, and it repeats for 162. Even highlight plays carry more than energy. They change count leverage and keep pitch counts low for the next frame. Rules shift, but gloves still matter. If automated zones trim framing value, catcher impact moves to game calling, blocking, sequencing, and keeping runners polite. Shortstops still erase singles with first steps and body control, and that will not fade with a rulebook tweak. Mini payoff, defense wins hidden innings which quietly win seasons. Final thought, the sport births archetypes, then rules reshape them. Archetypes live and die by rules, data, and fashion, but the scoreboard pays in runs, no matter how you create them. The 2023 shift ban showed how one tweak can raise BABIP and hand contact-first hitters, fresh lanes while forcing staffs to rethink pitch maps and positioning. Your turn. Which archetype do you draft for one must-win game, and which do you bench forever? Defend it with one stat. OPS plus, SB%, BB%, whatever you trust. Next time, we'll map how rule tweaks accidentally invent the next hitter type, from bigger bases to clock pressure changing pickoffs and tempo. The lab keeps moving. Hitters keep evolving.